Welcome back to the Deep Dig of Sports Pod. I'm your host, Shrew, my other host right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. Drop some comments below. Let us know your thoughts because this week the top 25 has been shaken up.
Yep, we're covering the top 25 every week. So let's just, dig right into it and see what's going on. Texas, number one, Arch Manning is him. Georgia falls down to number two. And I mean, you told me before this, you think Georgia should have fell farther down because of their performance against Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, at no point has Texas struggled in a game, has no point Ohio State struggled in a game. I would even put Ole Miss and Tennessee above them. I think Bama has also put up a good win against Wisconsin. Yeah, Georgia has the win against Clemson, but we've seen that this might not be the Clemson team that we had thought. So I'm fine with them being number two, but I would have liked them to be number three and Ohio State to be above them.
Yeah, and Georgia has a huge test this week against Bama. I honestly have no idea how that's going to go because I was thinking Georgia is the most dominant team in the country. But after this performance against Kentucky, where if Kentucky had a bolder coach, Kentucky could possibly be winning that game. And Bama's starting to roll now.
Yeah, I mean, I will be the first one to admit when I'm wrong. I might not be wrong yet. Jalen Milroe still not that great. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns rushing. He looks good, but that's what you do against bad teams in sub conferences that are not as good as yours. So Bama goes out there and rolls Wisconsin. That's exactly what you did, but they look like the Bama of old doing it. So kudos to them.
Yeah, huge game. We got to see how that plays out. And how that's going to shake out for the rest of the season because whoever loses is going to drop down and then have to work their way back to the top. And then we're trying to figure out SEC championship later down the road. So this game could send shockwaves through that whole conference and the top 10.
Yeah, I think we're going to see if Bama is for real. And I think this is going to be a very good litmus test for Kalen DeBoer as far as how he looks. And even if it isn't a loss, how does the Alabama fan base react to him?
Yeah.
Hold on. Before we do that, number 5, Ole Miss. Again, they're playing a tomato can. They're probably going to put up 1,000 points. Number 6, Tennessee, taking on Oklahoma. They're going to get in that ass. They are going to they're going to dog walk Oklahoma. It's going to be awesome. I think that Tennessee is worlds above Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, welcome to the SEC. You're going to see a real team.
Yeah, and Tennessee's been trying to make a statement all season like, hey, we're here. We're one of the best teams. They're running up the score up like 50 points at halftime. So they want to show that they're going to be good, that they're going to be here at the top. Will they, once they face better opponents, start to drop down or will they stay near the top? I don't know. You have 6 of the top 7 are SEC right now. And you just know that's not going to end. That's not going to be the case by the end of the year.
No, but there are still going to be a lot of SEC teams that are going to be higher up just because now you're going to be looking at losses. Like, okay, well, is that a good loss or is this a good loss? Like, what is that? You know what I mean? What I can tell you for sure is Notre Dame with that loss to Northern Illinois should not be up at the top.
Yeah, well, right now, let's look at 7 through 12. Missouri actually was a tough fought game against Boston College. They pulled away at the end, so yeah, I'm okay with them dropping a spot. Then we have Miami. They're gonna walk through the rest of the conference. They're my pick to finish number 1, if not at least top 3, because they're not gonna really get challenged for the rest of the year.
Yeah, they're just going to continue to walk through this ACC and continue to put on a showcase that, hey, we are the guys and we're for real. I would not be surprised if they win it and they end up getting the bye.
Yeah, and then we got Oregon. Really, we were betting big against them for Oregon State to cover because Oregon State looking good. Pac-2 was rolling so far this year. Oregon kind of struggling. Dylan Gabriel, they put it all together in this game. They are looking like they're going to be a dominant team moving forward. I think UCLA is not good this year. The quarterback is not great. The defense is not great. Oregon's going to have a blowout on their hands this week.
Yeah, it was really good because again, this was an Oregon team that needed to make a statement. They needed to show, hey, this is why we were so highly ranked. This is why we're so highly ranked. We need to put on a performance. They're going up against a UCLA team that just got baptized by Indiana. So welcome to the Big Ten, I guess. This is conference play now, but you got a real cupcake going into the first conference game. Hopefully, they continue to take this momentum and build upon it.
UCLA, come to the Pac-12. We got a spot for you, UCLA. You're not a Big Ten big boy.
You're not. You're not.
All right, Penn State, they dropped 2 spots at number 10. I just don't know how good this team really is going to be by the end of it. I think they have a great defense. Can the offense be explosive enough to compete with some of these other teams? I think USC has a real shot to beat them this year.
Yeah, 100%. I think they do, and it's really going to fall upon the shoulders of quarterback Drew Aller. They're going to go where he goes, and we've seen that last year. It's the same thing. Like, hey, we have the tools here, but Drew, can you take us to the promised land? Can you get us into that top now 12? Because Penn State has lived upon the fringes for the last like 5 years. So can you make us the team that actually is in rather than looking out?
Yeah, and USC has in name, a big game against Michigan this week, but Michigan is not good this year. The quarterback situation is not great. The defense isn't as dominant, and they were supposed to be blowing out this last team, but it was just way too close, way more close than it should have been. So USC Michigan this week. Are you expecting a big blowout for USC?
Dog walk.
What's the line for that?
I don't know, but whatever it is, like, yeah, it's probably going to happen. Like, this USC team can put up points, and this defense has looked a lot better. This turnaround has been awesome to see. If they can continue to hold teams to under 20 points, this USC team will continue to put up points, and they will get wins.
USC minus 5.5. I'm hammering that.
Hammer that, dude. Hammer that.
Yeah. All right. Utah is there. Good for Utah.
Utah, Isaac Wilson got his first win. The brother of Zach Wilson, because Cam Rising was out. I know that he is week to week. I think he's expected to start against Oklahoma State. That is a battle of 2 very old quarterbacks. I think it's a 7th and an 8th year senior, both of them.
Yeah, so Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State right here, the Big 12. Which of these three teams do you think has the best shot to stay at the top here?
I want to say Utah, but realistically, just because Cam Rising always gets hurt, I feel like he's going to get hurt at crucial times. We've already seen it happen this year. Right now, he's battling an injury. And so I think they're going to end up falling out because of that. I say it's probably OK State, just because I know watching K-State last week, Avery Johnson, he has his ups, he has his downs, he shows his athleticism. I think Oklahoma State is a little bit more of a well-rounded team, whereas K-State, you have those dips and those peaks and those valleys of a Big 12 team.
I actually like Kansas State more than Oklahoma State. I think their quarterback showed a lot of poise in the turmoil that he was kind of going through and came out 31-7 win against Arizona in a team that I thought was going to be pretty good this year, and they did look good the week before. But Kansas State, I think, is, for me, the better of the 3 right now. And that's not to say if Cam Rising is there, like it has to be Utah. But,
yeah,
I mean, this guy just can't stay on the field, so something to look for. Moving down, all right, this is the crazy that these 3 teams are together, because these 3 do not deserve to be on this list right now, in my opinion. LSU, Notre Dame, Michigan, all have not looked great this year, but they're 2-1. LSU gets bailed out by the refs against South Carolina, and the quarterback of South Carolina going down, Sellers. They win in a game that they should have been getting blown out. Notre Dame, they beat up on someone last week. I don't remember who they played, but they lost to Northern Illinois the week before. Their quarterback can't throw the ball. Michigan, same situation. Quarterback gets benched. Orgy, the backup quarterback, comes in. Not great either. I just don't know out of these 3 teams, like, can any of them really turn it around this year?
I think LSU has the opportunity to, because they're going to sneak wins. Like, again, they snuck a win against South Carolina. They're going to beat UCLA this weekend. They have wins on their schedule where they could eke it out, and they're going to just stay relevant. Notre Dame also has a very easy schedule, which we thought on paper that they, after the Texas A&M win, they basically punched their ticket to the playoff. And so with the loss to Northern Illinois, that doesn't change the rest of their schedule. They could win out. And if they win out, more than likely, we've seen voters before suck Notre Dame off, and they will be like, okay, well, we need to see this prestigious school in the playoff. But it's just like, dude, can you let a team that lost to Northern Illinois, even if they go out and beat USC and run the rest of their schedule over like an SEC team that has a loss over Georgia? Like, okay, well, which one do we get in? Or 2 losses against Georgia and let's say Texas. You know what I mean? Those are 2 really good losses, and we're going to take one loss Notre Dame, but that loss is to Northern Illinois. That's like, yeah, it's crazy. Crazy talk.
Yeah, Notre Dame, if they lose 2 games, 2 more games this season, like they're gone. LSU, I think they're going to lose a couple more games this year because they're just not well coached by Brian Kelly right now. Like UCLA should be a team that they beat pretty easily, but like we'll see. I'm not feeling great. The game plan was not good. There was mistakes made by the quarterback, by the offensive line. The center fumbled a bad snap. The defense gave up huge runs to a team that didn't even have a quarterback anymore. So,
yeah, but they've got just such better athletes compared to what they have at UCLA.
Yeah. I'm not saying them specifically, but like moving forward in the SEC, like I see LSU losing at least 2 more games.
True.
Michigan, we said USC. Take the -5.5. Maybe do an alternate spread minus like 7.5. All right. LSU, Iowa State, right here. We got an ACC school, a Big 12. I actually really like Iowa State this year. I think we were big on them last week.
Did you say LSU?
Said Louisville, Iowa State.
Yeah, Louisville going to be tested against Georgia Tech team that was ranked. So we know that they have some fight in them. We will see how that one goes. I'm very interested in that matchup, actually, especially because they are both in the ACC. They're both familiar with each other. I wouldn't take that for granted if you are Louisville, but you've got to be puffing your chest out a little bit like, hey, we could do this. Iowa State taking on Arkansas State. This is just a chance for them to continue to build out and get some work out some plays, get some things that they want going, because this is an opponent they should walk through pretty easily. Clemson taking on NC State. This is an NC State team that was very hyped coming into this season. So
they were ranked, right?
They were ranked. They got dog walked by Tennessee. Yeah. So if you're NC State, can we reclaim some of that hype that we saw? Can we show like, hey, we were ranked because of this, and we're going to get back to this point? Or Dabo got that drip, and Dabo is going to just walk all over this team because they're not on our level. Even though we're in the same conference, we are a tier above.
NC State has an interesting schedule to kind of get back on track here, because if they can beat Clemson, they play Northern Illinois next week, who is ranked. And that could be a game where Northern Illinois necessarily shouldn't be ranked. I don't think they're that good. But if you beat that ranked team, it looks good on your resume to start work your way back into the rankings. And then they play Wake, they play Syracuse, who's looking good this year, Cal and Stanford, and they have Georgia Tech on the schedule. So winnable games, but against notable opponents.
Yeah. And I think that is the path moving forward. So hopefully they can get it back on track with a win over Clemson, or even just a good showing. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, and then we got Nebraska. They play Illinois this week. We on upset alert for that, or?
That's an interesting matchup. Illinois is a little bit better than people think. You know what I mean? So that is a very interesting matchup, but I think that ultimately Nebraska is going to pull it out. But, I mean, Illinois, they have fighting them.
Yeah, if they just put up a good fight, I think they could manage to stay 25 on this list.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
And then Northern Illinois, they just got to keep winning. Like they got Buffalo. Hey, show that you're really good this year. I don't believe it, but show that you're going to beat the bad teams or the teams that you're supposed to win against. And then Texas A&M way down here at 25. Can you see them really bouncing back in this conference in this top 25 ranking?
If Connor Wegman never sees the field again, yes, because he is certified ass. Like, let's just be real. They lost that game because this quarterback, who in the moment, instead of like stepping up and throwing touchdowns, threw up on himself. Like, this guy was not good. And instead, on the bench, you had a freshman in Marcel Reed who goes out there and beats the brakes off of Florida. Yes, it's a Florida team that was pretty much on their deathbed, but he put the nail in the coffin and he looked amazing in that run at the Swamp against Florida. And with all of his tools and his ability to actually complete passes, that is what makes you confident if you're a Texas A&M, because we have the defense. We have that available to us. We have weapons that will get open. We need a guy that'll get us the ball, and that is Marcel Reed.
Yeah, they have a schedule that can get them back into the swing of things here because Bowling Green, Arkansas, and then they play Missouri. And if Boston College is putting up a fight against Missouri, you got to think to yourself, we're Texas A&M. Like we could beat Missouri. And then you go Mississippi State, LSU in a game that I think Texas A&M I think is better than LSU in my opinion. I think they should win that game. South Carolina, if you play a good run defense, which I think Texas A&M could do, you can win that game. New Mexico State, and then Auburn, Texas. Auburn lost to Cal this year. So you got to be telling yourself we can win that game. And then Texas is the big challenge. So I think really a slew of winnable games for A&M and then Texas.
Yeah, and then if you put up a respectable performance against Texas, that could sway if you're a borderline in or out team, that could sway them like, okay, well, they only lost by 4 to Texas, or hey, you know what? This is a team that put up a very good fight. They were winning 3/4 of that game against Texas. They ended up pulling it out, but you feel good about it. How would they do in a playoff? Like, that's what you start to think about as you start to move forward. We'll see what ends up happening with this Texas A&M team, but their defense is staunch. And if they can get it right on the quarterback front, they will be fine.
Yeah, you guys let us know in the comments how you feel about this top 25. Anything stand out? Any people shouldn't be on the list or any teams think need to work their way on it?
One team that needs to be on this list, and it's a disgrace that they are not on the top 25 right now, Indiana.
Indiana, I agree.
Indiana, they should be ranked. I don't know where they should be ranked, but they should be ranked. It's ridiculous that they are not. That's my take.
All right, guys, that's all we got. We'll see you next week.
Later.